So Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, we went over that. She's inept, incompetent, and I don't know what she's doing, but there's some weird shit going on with her. We talked about dry fire hydrants. Now I think we're going to get into what really maybe started the fire. We don't know. Was it arsonists, or are there other conspiracies that we're going to get into? You ready to burn this shit down?
I'm ready to fire it up, baby.
Let's do it.
Let's rock and roll.
Light that match.
So good.
Welcome to the Rude Barn podcast of the California wildfires. They're really wildfires. They're just fires that are destroying Southern California cities in large amounts. And something's really weird out there. That it's just the winds are really strong. They're at this time of year, and they're still burning. Today is the 11th of January. And they're still burning strong, right?
Yeah, still burning real strong. Yeah, and there's more fires that are happening.
Yeah,
in other areas,
and they can't seem to get a control on some of these. They do on some, but then like Palisades fire keeps growing. Now it's growing over the hill into the Encino Valley. That would be the Val, and now they're threatened. Nowhere near the coast, but they're getting threatened now too. It's crazy. So what's going on, man? What's happening?
Yeah, what's going on? Why are these fires continuing? We covered a lot of water issues that or lack of,
lack
water. That's definitely handcuffing the cities. But seems weird, and I brought this up a little bit, but it seems weird that these fires are so far apart.
Yeah, that's
how come
odd.
They're starting? You said at one point that there's if you're in this place and then you go up to this place, like an hour drive, or if you're here and you have to go here, relative to where these fires are happening, they're a good amount apart, and it doesn't seem like. And this is a weird thing to me. The Santa Ana winds move from east to west, right? Toward the coast.
Here's a map.
Well, these fires seem to be starting to happen and grow
backwards.
East. They're going east.
They're going backwards.
The winds are blowing west, and I'm confused. So tell me, Barn, how far? And people obviously from California know this. I know you're originally from California, but from Palisades to say Eaton or Hearst, how long of a drive is that?
Well, obviously it all depends on traffic. And
sure. Let's add a half an hour for traffic.
Okay, half an hour for traffic. You're probably talking an hour, so an hour and a half to the Hearst fire, and then probably hour and a half-ish to almost 2 hours with traffic if you go to the Eaton fire from the Palisades fire. It's not a short little drive. It seems like it is. Anywhere else, it cut off 45 minutes maybe on the 2 hour drive, and you're 45 minutes maybe here normally, and then maybe an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, and then
Palisades to Eaton, normal traffic.
For perspective of the landscape, this isn't just flatlands, right? This isn't just flatlands. Yeah, this is just flatlands that are, that you can see. Basically, you can't see Eaton from Palisades. You can't see Hearst from Palisades. This is not flatlands.
No, there's a hillside here. The Tamarack fire, for example, that's in the Encino Valley. That's in the Inland Valley. This whole hill right over the big Palisades, fire marker icon there. There's a big hill, so you can't see over this at all. The hill goes all the way through this way. I don't know if you can see my cursor at all, but it kind of goes across to Park Row fire here, to the other gray fire icon, all the way to the Palisades fire icon right here. So you can't really see over the hills. It gets hilly in the Eaton area. because that's the Eaton area is Pasadena, Altadena. The Rose Bowl is up that way. That's where they do the parade, Rose Parade every year. The Hearst Fire, that's getting a ways up. That's kind of on the way when you're going to drive up and go through Bakersfield and go through the inland San Joaquin Valley where all the farmers are, where all of our food is grown, pretty much. So these are areas. Palisades, you see Compton down here on the very bottom.
Oh yeah, okay.
So from Palisades to Compton, you know, I mean, it could take you easily hour and a half again, hour and a half to Hearst, and then maybe hour and a half to 2 to get to Eaton from Palisades, depending on how far up you are and how much traffic, of course, things like that. It's not really a close thing, so it is far away, and the winds are blowing from the Los Angeles County marker here in the hills above Eaton and the Tamarack, blowing from there towards the Palisades fire. Right. That's the direction of the winds. So going into the ocean.
So how are these fires starting? So, okay.
Palisades started first, yeah.
Palisades started first. And did they find out it was arson in Palisades, or what was it?
I don't think
are we
determined that yet.
Is that okay? We haven't got okay.
But they have arrested some people for lighting fires. So we did mention that in the last video.
Yeah, we did. But now that's kind of the thing. So isn't it strange that just these other fires are just popping up that are upwind?
The embers from Palisades are not going to defy physics of the wind blowing at 100 miles an hour or 60 or 80 miles an hour to the Eaton area.
Well, the embers are blowing probably southwest-ish, right? And
they're not anti-gravity embers.
No.
They can't defy the wind. So yeah, something weird's going on.
So what's going on then, Barn? What's going on?
Something weird's going on. Should we check into it a little bit more and
Let's check into it.
Throw some possibilities? We don't know what's happening. We're just saying, this is what we've heard. This is what we've heard. This is what we've heard. What do you guys think? Add some comments in there and tell us what you think. Now, things are changing all the time. We haven't looked at the latest updates, really, since we've been doing this podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know the latest stuff that's going on. I don't think a whole lot has changed. Maybe another fire has broken out. Maybe they pushed this back and they've contained it a little bit more, or maybe Palisades fire has grown more. We don't know yet.
Well, and just for context, if this is your first time listening, me and Barn are, by and by realists. We like a little bit of conspiracy. We like to talk about this. We like to ask questions, and that's kind of our mantra. But the thing is you're hearing this, and you're hearing this, and you're hearing this, and you're hearing this, and we just want to bring it down to the middle and find some logic in all of these different stories of where it's coming from, how it's happening, and say, why, how is this happening? Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. And does this sound plausible, or does this sound completely far-fetched? We don't know. So here is a gal that I follow along, and she did a lot of really good research. She does a ton of research. So for the most part, excuse me, I tend to lean towards what she's saying is legit, because she does a ton of research and backs it up. Kind of like what we try to do. When we have something here you may disagree with, that's fine. I'm going to put the link in there and say, well, this is the information we got. And we're not getting it from one type of news source. We're getting it from mainstream media. We're getting it from independent media. We're getting it from online media. We're getting it from just everyday average Joes who are reporting on things they see and find out. So we try to get a cross-section of everything to present to you, because I don't trust the mainstream media for the most part. There are some stories that they put out there that do back up what everybody else is saying. So at that point, okay, there's probably a little legitimacy. Oh my God, I can't even talk. Legitimacy to what they're saying. So at that point, we're like, okay, things are lining up across the board. Chances are that's probably most likely the truth of what's going on. So this is a gal named Peggy Hall. She's out, Healthy American is her channel, and she actually puts out a lot of good stuff. She's right about from where I'm from in Southern California originally. And so she has a lot of good stuff. She put a lot of good stuff about COVID and all the BS that was going on there, telling people, look, you don't have to comply with their mask mandates. Here's the law. They haven't actually passed laws. They're just passing recommendations that they make sound like they're law that you have to follow and things like. She goes, be careful, listen to what they're saying in the language. So she's actually really good at a lot of this research. So here's what she has to say about kind of what is possibly happening, and she's debunking the fact that it's arsonists, and she may think it's something else, and she's just kind of putting the information out there for us to listen to. Let's see what she's talking about. We'll play a little bit of this, and then we'll stop it in between and make some comments.
What I want to share with you are some of the narratives that are being put out there. Okay, residents are warned not to drink the water. That may be true. That's not a false narrative. I'm just showing you what is in the news. The freeways and road closures, absolutely. Here we go. How a rare windstorm whipped up LA County's catastrophic hellscape. Yes, it is catastrophic, and it is a hellscape. And it's not just happenstance, okay? The UCLA climate scientist said the strong wind event would not have produced a fire catastrophe had we gotten, say, an inch of rain in the past couple of weeks. Friends, there has been rain. Last year, we had some of the most rain on record, including the Snowmageddon, which means there was a huge snowpack, which then melts. So it talks about critical fire conditions. So this is one of the false narratives. Here's another one. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Hang on. Hear me out. Trump blames Newsom, I think is how he pronounced it, as I do,
which is correct.
California wildfires, and governor's office pushes back. The firefighters were overwhelmed by 4 brush fires, and then, of course, we learn. Let me take this off for a moment. We're going to go over to another one called the LAist, which I think they do very good reporting. They also broke all of the scandals that I was talking about with the Orange County public servants. So I looked here, and they've got the Palisades fire nightmare. Again, I'm not going to do a deep dive in all the images and so forth, but I do like that they have how to keep yourself safe and looking for the foster families. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Here is one of the false narratives. What really happened with the Pacific Palisades water hydrants? All right, hydrants. Now, let me explain what I mean.
Yeah, we talked about this in the last video as well. So this is
true that there was no water there was no water that was available to be used in the fire hydrants. That is a fact. The reason why I'm putting it in the category of the false narrative, hear me out, is because now the general population has something that they can pinpoint as to the reason for the massive destruction of the fire, rather than the actual and obvious to those of us who are awake true cause of the fire, which is the intentional decimation, depopulation, and I'm going to get into that in just a moment. This is a warfare on the populace, all right? It's a hard fact for people to face, and I have a great deal of compassion for those who don't want to hear these things and be faced with it, Okay, for those of you that know what's going on, I want to caution you to not be carried away by these false narratives. Then the conversation becomes, well, why wasn't there water? No, the conversation is there was no water because water does not put out an electrical microwave fire. And if water had been used on these structures, it would have been apparent to those of us with the eyes to see and the knowledge of how microwave fires and these actually, it is the directed energy weapon fires start. It is a laser, and I don't have evidence I have no evidence that I saw that, but
Okay. This was what was going around about the fires in Maui and Lahaina specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I thought I thought we, sorry to interrupt, but I thought we kind of deducted as the, awake group, that was a land grab, and within the next about 2-3 years, there's going to be some major production going on there, a building and all that kind of crap. But that seemed like a land grab, and that's, I think, as we kind of, again, the awake group kind of deducts that too.
Right.
As far as this goes, it seems a little bit different.
Right. But at the same time, they're also looking at this like, well, yeah, this is a land grab, or this is a started by the means to the land grab in Hawaii was to start these devastating fires via a hurricane, which is really weird with all the winds, just like the winds here, to gain land that would be more valuable for high-end beach resort in Hawaii and other things such as that, more valuable than the ancestral lands of people who've been there for generations living in these cute, awesome little homes in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to Lahaina, and it was the coolest little town I've ever been on in Hawaii. It's on Maui, of course. Kauai would be my next cool little island of places to stay, but Lahaina was one of the coolest little, and it's a shame what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
Similarities is in there, you would have, like we mentioned before, we had pictures and guys from Hawaii in there reporting out what they can. There's a lot of weird, and I want to do we're going to do a podcast on the Maui fires because I think it's still relevant because those people are still dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have a structure burnt to the ground. You'd have a car melting. The aluminum metal in the engine or in the wheels or something would melt to the ground, and it would drip out down the walk, while a tree 10 feet away not singed or burned at all. How does that happen? Heat to produce something that melt a car down to liquid is not burning a tree 10 feet away or 20 feet away or whatever it is. So similar things are happening here as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. And she mentioned something about that I don't know. We'll have to find it in her video. Remember, she mentioned something that of why a car would burn and a tree wouldn't.
Right.
And that just seems. It's backwards to me.
It was something like microwaves don't burn plastic, but they'll burn these other elements, wood.
Yeah.
It just burns differently, I guess.
So my question on that, where she was saying that it's a population control, basically, right?
Right.
So I think when I hear population control, it's like the COVID thing, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, it's something made up by the deep state. Okay, they need to control the population. They're going to do this.
They're throwing out the theory, the conspiracy theory. Yeah.
Right. So even if the deep state's doing that, the deep state usually, to me, consists of a bunch of D's, nuts, somewhere in some shady, satanic building somewhere, making up these plans, right? And it doesn't make sense to me why they would kill their own.
Right. Because
you figure, the populace of the Hollywood, elite or even, Hollywood is Democrat, right? Yeah. They're a bunch of D's. So they're killing off a ton of their voters. They're moving them out. I don't know what the death toll is now. I'm sure. I mean, the last I heard reported was 10, but I'm sure once, the rubble's cleared and all that kind of stuff,
we'll probably be in the hundreds.
It'd probably be in the hundreds, but if you're going to do population control, you wouldn't start, you do another pandemic. You wouldn't start these fires.
Not going to try that.
Oh, they're going to, yeah. But I mean, it's just kind of like, I don't know. To start it this way seems
logically it doesn't necessarily make sense.
Logically it doesn't make sense. However, but you have all these materials that are just burnt to oblivion, right? Like, and you have this smoke in the air, and basically everybody up and down the coast is going to be breathing this in. right?
Well,
The
think of
winds
the
are
toxins in all of the
exactly
shit that
all
burn,
the
not just
toxins
the
and
wood smoke. Yeah.
yes, all the toxins and the plastics and all that shit
Yeah.
is going to be in the air that these people are going to be breathing in. So I could see that
Lung
being,
cancer.
yeah, I could see that being a contribution to the long con
Yeah.
of, killing.
Well, they
people
can't
off.
make it look obvious, dude. If you killed off a bunch of people right away, it would be genocide.
That's
you
what
know.
Fauci did.
Well, I know, but
And
he
he
was
got
trying
an
to do
award.
it.
He's getting an award, isn't he?
Oh yeah, that son of a yeah.
Yeah, humanitarian award. It's fucking crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, when I start saying fudge, I'm pissed. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, no, he's trying to do all that, but they're playing the long game in exactly what you just said. They're putting it into a pandemic. You take a shot that you don't know what's in it, and you can believe that it's the greatest thing to stop COVID and whatever all you want. That's fine. You have the right to do so. But you don't know what's in it. They're finding out more and more weird shit. Is it going to make people, women specifically, well, both men, their sperm sterile, the women sterile, so they can't have kids, or make it so difficult to have children that you naturally only have a child or you don't. And then they're pushing in schools the whole Marxist thing of getting rid of the family, so that even the young kids like, oh, it's not worth having a child. I don't want to bring them into a world like this, or I don't want to have kids, and I won't be able to go on my vacations because I have children.
Well, and then they're pushing the LGBT stuff in schools.
Everybody's gay.
And so, two sticks don't create kids, and
they just light fires after a while and rub them together hard enough, I guess.
Yeah. And same goes the other way. And so there you go. You're controlling population that way.
Yeah.
I could see it being part of a bigger picture and a bigger plan, which is nefarious as hell. But yet
it makes her sound.
It sounds
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you look deep, like you're just saying, and realize there's a bigger picture, and it's being presented in a way that sounds really crazy, and that's how they all start. But there's an element of truth into it, and it's the long game, like we're saying.
It's almost like
possibly we don't know. We're just guessing. We're speculating.
Yeah, speculation.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like, doesn't it now? It almost seems like the most crazy theory that you can come up with is usually the one that's happening.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. That's because it's all a distraction. This is a distraction. Because have we heard anything else now that the fires are dominating the news about Vegas and New Orleans New Year's attacks?
Right.
No, you don't hear it. Have you heard about the drones lately in New Jersey? Do you think those have just magically disappeared and gone away?
They came back.
Yeah, weird.
I was talking to the mics, and they came back.
Yeah,
they're back.
They're back with a vengeance, because they can't see. You can't have all the attention in California, because now New Jersey's jealous again because they had attention on them, so they want the attention again. So the drones are back.
Yeah,
see how that works? You're like, oh, you can't have. Yeah, but it's all distraction. The drones, the fires, the attacks in New Orleans and Vegas, and these other things, all going on while people like George Soros and Hillary Clinton and other people are getting medals of freedom.
Medals of freedom, yeah.
I mean,
and
George Soros, really? Medals of freedom?
And while Joe approves another $500 million to Ukraine, retirement funds, literally the day that California started on fire. Are you kidding me?
It's all coincidental. But we totally believe in coincidences, don't we?
Coincidence, yeah. That's a real thing, isn't it?
That shit. Dude, I'm telling you, it is a distraction. You have to look beyond all of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it baffles me that people will not see, even if they don't want to believe this right side conspiracy theory stuff, but they love Newsom like he's a family member. They love Karen Bass like she's a family member because she's a D.
Mhm.
He's a D. You vote for D, you doesn't matter. These guys, I mean, I'm going to just be absolutely ridiculous on this. They can literally kill somebody in the street and you people will still vote for them. That's how much, and yet you'll tell us the same thing. Oh, Trump could kill people in the street. You'd still vote for him. Well, you'd still vote for your people and you treat them like they're your kin.
Look at Mangino. They're treating him like a freaking martyr.
Oh, Mangione, whatever.
Mangione or whatever,
the CEO killer, yeah.
Yeah. They're
Luigi.
walking him out.
Where's Mario?
No, nobody. They don't walk criminals out like that. Do they do the big walk with the media there and all that shit? No.
Not usually. Sometimes, I guess, but not usually. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You kill somebody in the street, and they're gonna blame it on who got killed.
And they'll have video evidence, and they'll still say, "No, that wasn't me. No, that was you. It's right there in the video. Nope, that wasn't me." Gaslighting to the nth degree.
Oh yeah, and these D's that people have voted, they're buying it.
Yeah. Now, people, you have to understand, we're not ours. We're I's. We're independent. Okay. I got rid of I'm conservative, fiscally conservative, socially more liberal, moderate. Okay. I like to look at both sides of the issue. Okay. Democrats and Republicans both have horrible people in office, and they also have some good people in office. Not enough, but they do have some. So we try to look at this. So don't put us in a category that we're ours and that we are lockstep in everything. Dan Crenshaw, eye patch boy, is an R. And I can't stand that son of a pig.
Well, the difference is with us.
Mitch McConnell, same thing.
Is that, that may make it seem like we're on the R side and we're just, just ready to bash. It's just because there is a difference between, I won't say the W word because I think we got in trouble for that. But I will say the A word, which is awake. We're awake to the bullshit. We're awake to the lies. We're awake to the false narratives, and we ask questions. We want to know answers. And if you're not giving us answers, and if it doesn't make sense, we're going to ask. And also, on the reverse side of that, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, swims like a duck,
shits like a duck,
it's a fucking duck. And there's a
ducking duck is according to how the autocorrect does.
And there's no in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. It's like don't sit there and think that we're looking at one thing because if we look at it like, does that make sense? And here's the thing: if you went after and did the COVID jab, and you listen to them try to say, get the jab, and you're eligible for a college scholarship, or you're eligible for a free Krispy Kreme, or a free cheeseburger, or you're eligible for $1 million giveaway, and you're not sitting there going, wait a minute, if this jab is so good, why are you trying to bribe me with a free college education?
Yeah.
Or anything else. And if this is such a great product, why aren't you saying, we recommend that you look into getting the COVID jab instead of trying to mandate it when you all know your kids in school have a separate area in the lunchroom for people with peanut allergies?
Yeah.
What if peanuts, peanut oil, peanut butter, anything peanut related was a cure for COVID, and you mandated that everybody had to eat peanuts, oil, butter, etc.?
Kids are dead.
But you know damn well it's going to kill kids and people who are allergic to peanuts. But you mandate it anyway. That's what they did with the COVID shot. Not everybody
2 weeks worth of bullshit research. Yeah.
Well, it was false research. They changed the research. They changed the product they gave us, and they tested a different one. They even mentioned in the European Union, the Pfizer representative said that, oh yeah, we didn't even have time to test it, and admitted it. So when you have people saying you have to mandate something that it could kill you, and you don't sit there and say, well, if they force everyone to take this, and people are allergic to penicillin, but penicillin does wondrous things for people, and you were going to force penicillin on somebody who's allergic who could die from penicillin, but penicillin cures everything for most everybody else. Do you not see the logic in that? So if you're one of those people that thought getting the COVID vaccine was, okay, I'll fall in lockstep with what Fauci tells me, you're part of the problem, and you're not asking the right questions and thinking logically. Well, and that's all we're trying to say.
And it's okay if you got sucked into the fearmonger and you were scared. We were all scared.
Well, that's their tactic.
And you did it on the fear. You know what I mean? The fear of your family, the fear of.
And I get it.
I get it. But if you are one of those people that got sucked in by fear and did it because of that, I don't blame you. And I don't. But you got to look at what's happened though, after, and you can't, I don't think you're a valid advocate for it after that, you know what I mean? And just admit, hey man, I got fooled by the fear and I wish I hadn't have done it now. There are hundreds of thousands of people who are in that mindset because they're fucking sick.
Yeah.
And they made their family sick, and they're dealing with the sickness and palpitations and all kinds of other shit. Yeah. After this,
we're getting COVID over and over and over again.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but at the same time, that's you didn't ask the right questions. Right. You didn't hold out. You didn't can the fear for a minute and listen to what was really going on and ask questions.
Well, and that's part of the whole thing too, is like, what was the point of them doing that? What was the end game in this whole thing? Is it to put you in so much fear, which is what they do a lot. I mean, think about it over the years, put you in fear. So you come to that's what happened after 9/11. Oh my God, we had terrorists come and fly planes into buildings. It's a whole thing on that. But anyway, it's like, please, almighty government, come in and save us, protect us. And so the Patriot Act came about from that. Hell, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that was a good intention thing. Okay. So what is to come out of this fire the same way as what was coming out of COVID? They were trying to put a digital ID. They were trying to make everybody take the jab. Why were they trying to make everybody take the jab? If the jab was so wonderful, why is it that people were still freaking out if you were unvaccinated? If the vaccination the COVID stopped with the vaccination and you couldn't transmit it, why were you scared of everybody else? Okay,
right. Again,
another story. But what was coming out of that? They were, trying to control us all, keep us all from doing it. Any time there was an emergency, they've given themselves powers beyond what they should have, powers beyond our constitutional rights. They're basically subverting our constitutional rights to travel, to live, to own guns, to protect ourselves and our families, to speak our mind. If we had a narrative that was different, or a talking point that was different than their narrative, we had to be silenced.
But we gave him that.
And we gave him that.
That's what's so fucking infuriating about it, is we gave him that power. You know what I mean? Right. We didn't stand up.
Yeah.
The majority didn't stand up.
Is Zuckerberg, did he come to a revelation? Because I've got a couple things on that. People are going, oh, Zuckerberg's just sucking up because Trump's in office now and he knows it. Well, he did say he was forced by the government to silence people. And if he didn't, he was going to get the wrath of the government coming down on him one way or the other, or whatever it was. Is that true? Or is he just sucking up to the right because Trump is now in office?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. I mean, we're not going to see probably for another 4 years because Zuck's going to play this game because he sees the good graces that Elon's gotten from Trump, and it's not because Elon is a suck up. It's because Elon is
a straight shooter, really.
Straight shooter, free thinker. He thinks for himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't let people push him around.
Right.
And I think that hopefully Zuck is getting getting some mentorship from him in that
maybe
way.
Maybe a little base, maybe.
Yeah, and might start doing things the right way. But
well,
who knows? I said, we're not going to know for another 4 years.
Yeah, we won't know for sure. Actions.
That guy, I don't know. He's kind of a snake. I want to see what you have on him because I don't think I've seen it. I saw a few things, but I don't think I saw that one. But yeah, I don't know, man. Zuck is a snake chameleon to me. You know what I mean? I don't trust the guy. He looks like a robot. I don't know. It's weird, dude.
Jury's still out on him.
Yeah, jury's still out.
But here's an interesting take. There's a podcast I watch who does a lot of stuff, and he's a free thinker as well. And he's a Trump guy. He'll admit it. He has a Trump shoe on the back, right in his studio there. But he also looks at things logically, and he's kind of an MMA guy. Okay, his name is Jesse on Fire, and he has a good show. Puts out it there, and he has really some good thoughts. I mean, I think I've used a couple of his videos in some of our podcasts before.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
The MMA world, or the fighting world, martial art world, is a close-knit society. Apparently, he was saying that Zuck was in there and was doing a bout with somebody, and this guy, and he's been working out, and he's looking a lot buffer than he was as a nerd. Dude's doing something. Okay,
yeah, he's got a better haircut. He's got a better publicist, I think.
Yeah.
He fired his publicist.
But here's the interesting take that Jesse was talking about this guy. He said, and we'll get back on the fire in just a second. Don't think we've forgotten. I got this ember burning behind me. I don't forget it.
Right behind him.
He was talking about how the fighting community is very close-knit. There's respect earned, and it's very important for somebody to be respected. Zuck was in this battle, and he was getting choked out. And instead of tapping out, he passed out. He choked out till he was passed out. He didn't quit. He earned, apparently, what Jesse was saying. At that point, it was more important for Zuck to prove to everybody how he belonged, how he was a part of the community, how he was the integrity, everything else that he was doing. It was more important for him to pass out, like choke out, instead of tap out and quit by tapping out. Gained a lot of respect. So at that point, that's where he said, that's why I believe what Zuck is saying right now, that he's being sincere. He has a lot doing this MMA, the martial arts stuff. He is trying to prove not only to himself, but to the community that he's real. And you don't do stuff like that if you're a poser. You don't do that type of stuff if you're a bullshitter, because people see it, and he wants to earn the respect of this martial art community. It doesn't matter that he's a multi-billionaire.
Yeah,
it's more important to him to earn that respect.
Well, and that's,
I thought it was an interesting take.
That's super noble. Yeah.
And it's true, and I hope it is. It's interesting.
And I have no doubt that they came down on him and and made him do the censorship stuff.
Well, they've already proven that the feds came in.
Yeah, and I feel bad for him if he was of this mindset before, like this is how I want to do it, and then the government comes in and says, no, you have to censor this stuff. And I saw him on Rogan, and he was kind of explaining some of this stuff, which was just kind of eye-opening. But at the same time, why he didn't put his foot down and say, no, you can F all the way off, because this is my company, and I'm going to run this company how I want to run it. And if you don't like it, You can suck rocks, man. I don't care. You're not gonna control me. You know what I mean? This is a free speech industry.
Right.
Social media.
But did he explain why he ended up doing it anyway, with the government's thumb on him?
Well, no, I didn't get that. I didn't get that far
okay.
into it. So, but I'm sure it was just like you said. I mean, they were probably just going to come down and put the hammer on him. You know what I mean? Which is bullshit. Absolutely.
Which is bullshit. And that's
what I mean?
another thing why people, if you decide to actually look into things instead of just believing the mainstream media on all this stuff and what you're hearing from your CNN sources, and CNN was one of the worst, MSNBC same. If you just believed everything they said, then that's part of the problem. I mean, if you started looking at it, well, why are they doing these fact checkers? And these fact checkers don't seem to be actually fact checking anything. They're just dem checking, narrative checking.
Yeah, and look at the flip side. The View's been on for years, spouting absolute bullshit, untruth, lies, and going along with these false narratives that the mainstream is telling them to go on about.
Yeah.
And they didn't even start getting fact checked until what? 6 months ago?
Yeah, like I say, this last year.
Maybe not even that long ago.
Yeah.
And
poor Sunny Hostin had to take back her statement she made.
Yeah.
And you saw her face on it. She's like, and I apologize for saying what I said, and blah,
But there's a difference, because I think people get this kind of blurred, and I think sometimes we've kind of blurred it, not intentionally, but we've blurred it. Fact checking and censorship is two different things.
Or should be.
Look at this balloon.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I'm looking at that. I see a little thumbs up thing popping up, and I'm like,
yeah.
Where's that coming from?
It's
I know you're not doing it. It's like, why? Would you? I'm going to give myself a thumbs up. Hey, everybody.
Do balloons.
Me, thumbs up.
Yeah, but it's they're two different things. They should be two distinct things. Fact checks are facts. You know what I mean? If you're spouting off bullshit and lies about people and trying to smear them for one reason or another, that's a fact check, and that's when it's pertinent. And lies about certain things, but I think censorship goes in the way of where it seems to me, I might be wrong, but this is how I think, is you have this group collective that says this is a narrative we're talking about, and you have to abide by what we're saying, what we're doing. You don't say anything other than this, or anything that goes against this, or else you're canceled in some way or another. Well, sick the Clintons on you.
Oh, shit! Don't do that. Yeah, no, it's very true. And if we don't think that, stuff like that might be going on right now with these fires, because do they? Who's they? The people at the top, the Newsoms, somebody pulling their string. Who's pulling their string? Somebody else. I mean, who knows?
I think he's just an idiot.
That's just conspiracy. Anyway. But what is going on? Why are we not getting all the truth? Is there, if something comes out, are we going to now say, well, if that's not true that you said there, Gavi, what else have you not said that's true? And we've found there's a lot that he has not said that's not been true. So I don't know. If you look at this, and I'm going to get Peggy back on here to continue on with a little bit more, and then we'll get into some more other thoughts and conspiracies and potential reasons of the how these fires started, and then we'll talk about those a little bit. And then the last thing we'll get into are the water wars, like I mentioned before, that have been going on since probably the late 1800s in California.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always fighting. Farmers trying to get the water, industrials trying to get the water. Whoever has the water has the power. Whoever has that power has the money, so on and so on. It really works interestingly how it always gets back to money. So weird. So Now let's listen a little bit more of what Peggy has to say here, and then we'll go on.
I see the aftermath, and if I am putting together the forensics, looking at the facts and the evidence that we can see, this is not the natural behavior of an outdoor fire. So if there were firemen on the scene, fire people, because DEI, that's
No,
another
firemen,
false
say it.
narrative
I'm
that I'll
not
get to
going
in
to
a
fucking be
moment.
politically.
If there had been the
Sorry.
firefighters on the scene with fire in their hoses trying to put out these fires,
Or
it
water.
would have been clear to those of us that can see that this was not a natural fire that was being doused by water. Electrical fires cannot be put out by water.
So it makes them
I've
worse.
got a second video for you coming up this evening about the problems with these electrical vehicles when it comes to disasters like this and evacuations. And
Those
they're
take
15
forever
minute
for the
city
batteries to cool
nightmares. So
down and
stick with me
go
for
out
that.
when they're on
But
fire.
that's why you don't see water like you didn't see water in Lahaina. You didn't see it in Texas. You didn't see it in Oregon. You didn't see it in Tenerife. Because when I was growing up and there was an actual wildfire that burned foliage, combustible material, houses are not combustible. I mean, the contents, yes, not the outside. That's why we live in them. They're fireproof structures in most cases.
Yeah, not all,
Then
but
they would have these
I know
super
what you're saying.
tankers and gather the water up in buckets. We would watch it on TV, and they would douse the flames with this water. Now, the next false narrative is that the winds were too strong and they couldn't fly. Oh, so you're telling me that you're going to allow all these fires to burn without at least trying to bring one of these super tankers up in the air? And from some of the eyewitness reports that I got that I'm going to share with you on Friday, that's tomorrow. I've got your stories that I'm going to be sharing on the video here on my broadcast of the winds were not that sustained. And once the fires were raging, the winds were not as strong as what we were told. So that's another false narrative. Gathering and getting everybody's attention about no water in the fire hydrants so people can talk about that. All the while, they're not talking about the actual intentional decimation and destruction on the populace. They couldn't get enough people with the cocktail. So they had to go about it this way. And they've been doing it for years. Paradise in California, Lake Tahoe, I think it was a year ago. We had San Diego some years ago. We had Greater San Diego, Fallbrook area happen. We've had Ventura County, Thousand Oaks many times, Malibu many times. It's basically decimated. Northern California, Redlands, it's happening all over the state of California again and again and again.
Paradise.
And they're blaming it on these false narratives of global warming. At least this time I didn't hear the false narrative of the electric company being the cause. They'll probably point their fingers at that, and then the rates will go up because they'll say that they had to pay to have more hardening of the resources, and then the utility receiver is going to be paying more. So the utility companies get richer. The insurance companies get richer because they jack up their rates. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. I've got a whole list of these false narratives. So the next one that they are focusing on is that the mayor of Los Angeles was out of the country. Yes, that's true. Repeat after me. She was gone. She was MIA. Absolutely. That's not the point. It doesn't matter if she was there or not. The point is, the reason they're putting that out in the news for you to even know and see and fixate on is so that you're not going to fixate on the real cause, which is this intentional decimation of the population. Yes, I'm having a little bit of flipping my lid here. And if I can't flip my lid now, when can I? So
you
here's
flip
another
it, girl.
one. We're told that there were no firemen because she gutted the budget. The mayor stripped the fire department budget by 20-something million dollars. That's true. Absolutely, it's true. The reason I'm putting it in.
Yeah, but their budget was originally 800 million. So 20 million of 800 million is not really a lot, but you know what? That 20 million still can go a long way.
Yeah.
And what do they use the 800 million for? Is it mostly salaries and vehicles and fire department, stations?
I guess. That's a lot of money.
That's a pretty. I didn't know it was 800 million until we looked in that Wikipedia article on Karen Hall or Bass, excuse me, Karen Bass, and yeah, I mean, I think she's right. We talked about the ineptitude of Karen Bass, and yes, I think there's a lot we can put blame on her for a lot of these things and the DEI hires she did with these lesbian chiefs of the fire department hiring women and other people who are not necessarily the most skilled and qualified people for the job, but because they check off a couple of those boxes, now we have fewer people. They're not getting paid enough, or they can't do the job as well. People aren't getting to say, and it just goes on and on and on, dominoes down, you know. But she continues again talking about the population control thing, which is a Bill Gates thing, by the way, in case people are wondering. He's part of that whole group of people that would love to see, and look it up. What is it, Agenda 201 or one of those deals he did? He is in that same group of people with the mindset of that the population of the Earth, of human population of the Earth, should be like 500 million people. That's it.
Cut off.
We have around 8 billion right now. That takes us down to less than 10% of our population, if my math serves me correctly. Which
Could you imagine?
I can't even fathom what that. I mean, it's just 500 million people. That's less than a billion, half a billion, I think. Yeah, from 8 billion. I mean, that's insanity. I mean, 5 billion people to 500 million is 10%. So we're talking what, 5 to 8% maybe.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, there
and they want to do this. This is not just fantasy bullshit I'm throwing out there. Look it up.
Well, I don't know. I think that humanity will take care of itself.
Yeah.
As far as who lives and who dies and what the population looks like. I mean, without this, and that's the scary thing. Without people trying to be puppet master over it, it would take care of itself. You know what I mean? And to think that you deserve to carry out that narrative is diabolical to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really? Well, you have to be. I mean, I said this before. You have to be a sick person, you're like just a sick son of a bitch, to want to have that kind of mindset that you think you're so elitist, because you're not going to be one of the 7.5 billion people who are going to be eliminated. You're going to be the one that's around, right?
Yeah.
Why would you say we should eliminate it to 500 million people and I'm going to be part of that elimination?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so, Charlie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who do you want? You want to sit on a crown. You want to be, king shit. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to make their airplanes that they fly around.
Yeah.
Their G6.
Yeah. Don't know. Yeah. Don't know who's going to maintain them.
Yeah.
Don't know who's going to farm the land.
Right.
Don't know. Yeah. Don't know who's going to run the stores.
Who's going to build your mansion on the top of the mountain for you? I mean,
yeah.
So there's a lot of weird conspiracy shit. I didn't want to play. I'll put her video in there so you can watch the rest of it. It is interesting. You can believe it or not, whatever. It's interesting to hear, listen to other points of view and what other people are saying, and then don't just hear what she says. Listen to it, and then really listen, hear what she's saying deep down, and try to think about beyond just words she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So not only does she talk about those things, but now we have other things that are interesting. She did mention the microwave DEWs, the direct energy weapons. And here's a guy who's talking about stuff that if people saw this, they would question a few more things. And can't remember what he gets into initially here, but let's just watch this video here for a minute and see what he's saying. Then I have a couple other little ones that are pretty short that we can talk about as well. So let's check this out real quick and see what he's saying here.
Cities seem to suffer from a plethora of disasters in the recent times. You guys seeing the coincidence? Buildings turn to dust, the trees are untouched. We have seen this many times.
And these insurance people decided to cancel their fire.
Oh,
And we're going through this, and it just happened, and they have no fire insurance.
Yeah, we're going to go more into that because that's a big card. Absolutely insane. Got lots of crazy stuff. Infrared satellite catches lasers headed right over to where the fire is. Interesting. Just a coincidence. And as these fires are going, have you heard of Area 51? That's kind of where the laser came from. Check this out.
In Southern California, they are laying something over Area 51. It's then being shot by the Next-Rad radar system. You can see that clear as day right here. It is then expanding and being dropped right over Southern California.
And I got a lot more of that. This is crazy stuff that you guys need to see. Again, just a coincidence, but I think a lot of people are saying we found proof. Crazy important information that affects you coming right up.
So yeah, I mean, I'm going to jump ahead to a couple more things he has in there real quick while we're discussing that. But and in all honesty, and I'm not trying to agree with it or discount it, but the laser that was coming through that map there that you saw and went straight down, that fire wasn't in LA on that particular map. Now, it's not to say that that wasn't on the Southern California and the LA area one, and maybe he shows that more, but that one wasn't. I'm going to just debunk that right there. That little cloud thing that was shot out of Area 51, it was actually, that's west and southwest of where Area 51 kind of is anyway, but okay, out of Area 51, and it goes across. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that was odd.
That was strange. So I'll give him that for sure. But there's some interesting things going on, and I don't know what it is, but maybe he talks about it a little bit more here. Let's do this again and see what he's saying here.
They take it down.
And this is not birds or bugs. I can promise you that. There is something very odd going on with the military or something that's taking place in Area 51 and then being dropped in the sky, which is then carried over by the jet stream or some sort of wind pattern into Southern California.
Lots of coincidences arising from the area and fire department not even having any water to fight the fire just before this fire. Yeah, cutting the fire aspect of the insurance. Even down to the area being deemed a 15-minute smart city area. And before we dive into all this crazy information you guys need to know, if you guys didn't see this video, I talked about this right here, an emergency sleeping bag that can keep you alive in freezing temperatures.
Okay, so he goes into his little ad thing here. I'm going to jump ahead because he does talk about some more stuff. Here, let's see. Okay, so here's the Hollywood sign that he was talking about here. Let's go back just a hair. And
this could have saved some lives. And real quick, as I said in that video, I am buddies with the creator of this thing, and he's giving our community a special discount, and it's already crazy cheap because he's not from this specific area. Zachary Levi, the actor.
70% or so of the insured in Southern California that used to have fire insurance in their home months ago, this insurance was taken away. The insurance company said, no, we're not going to offer fire insurance anymore. What else? Do they need? They don't need flood insurance.
To catch the mayor's response, because Sean Hannity did.
Mayor Bass had no interest at all in answering any questions. This is beyond outrageous. Take a look.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning?
Yeah, I mean, this is unacceptable.
Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor?
It doesn't matter whether you're.
Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
Frozen up right there, right?
Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
And we're talking that ice cold killer attitude.
How can you not even say a word to a question that they're asking you? I just got off the plane.
Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Awareness into thin air, put this out, some really good information, calling out 3 major fires all begin at the same time. Does this all sound way too familiar? 3 fires starting at the same time. Also an into thin air's post right here. Infrared satellite catches U.S. mill setting fires in California using DEW. Now, that's a post that he put out. Were they catching fires?
This is up near
I don't
Santa
know.
Cruz,
But check
right
this data
here.
out.
This is
right here,
California area.
see,
That's not LA right there.
Wait, here it comes. This is infrared from the satellites.
This is bizarre.
Now wait for it.
I think that was a few years ago.
What is that? Did you all see that?
Yeah, we saw it.
That is laser.
Yeah.
And on the screen, you can see what they often use that for, I'm sure. Apparently, this is coming from Daywalker 378. But we got more on this.
That's
Check
not
this
LA.
out. And let me know down in the comments if you got more information on this. So far, this is one of the only ones that has been sent to me. Also, we've got a little bit of
These fires are going on in Southern California. They are laying something over Area 51. It's then being shot by the next-rad radar system. You can see that clear as day right here.
Still don't
It is
know
then
what the hell that
expanding and being dropped right over Southern California. And then take a look at what happens to Area 51. This is totally insane. This is not normal, and this is not birds or bugs. I can promise you that. There is something very odd going on with the military or something that's taking place in Area 51 and then being dropped in the sky, which is then carried over by the jet stream or some sort of wind pattern into Southern California. I talked about this yesterday when we predicted these wildfires based on a northwest anomaly that we saw, again from the NextRad radar system, which then led to insane wildfires in Ventura County. Now we are seeing more and more of this being dumped over Area 51 and then flows into Southern California. What is going on here? And then look at how the NextRad towers go absolutely berserk. There is no chance that this isn't related, my friends. This is now 2 days in a row we have captured this happening over Area 51 and flowing down into Southern California, exactly where these wildfires are. And I know a lot of people will give us a hard time for talking about this, but how can you not? This is not a coincidence whatsoever. And I'm going to continue digging into this to see exactly how long they continue this for. If you look close enough, you can find stuff like this every day on these satellite charts. All right, so
information to try to figure out the puzzle. Put it in the comments. Again, share this video out. You guys compare this to what's happened before. I don't think that these videos are going to survive very long, because I feel like with Maui and Lahaina, we've already got a little bit of warm-up and a watchful eye on to what to look out for, right? Again, when we've got smart LA 2028 technology for a better Los Angeles, probably just a coincidence that many of these areas planned for a WEF 2030 15-minute city, and all these disasters are coincidentally happening at the same time.
I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm still of the opinion that I mean, look, if you're gonna burn down LA, direct energy weapons is the way to do it. Or do another Rodney King incident and then they'll burn themselves down, right?
Right.
But it just seems again, it just seems like, I don't know, like if you wanted to do a clean 15-minute city, LA, it seems like why would you direct it toward, you know, the Hollywood area, the Palisades, these multi-million-dollar homes where you have the residents in there, they're paying huge taxes up there. They have, the property taxes are insane. They're basically keeping your economy alive. They spend money in the high dollar stores. They spend money at the gas station. You know, and they have money to spend. I don't know why you would destroy their companies. And I did hear a story. Adam Carolla was talking about how they wanted to clear out the coast.
Yeah.
And there's a clip, I guess on his podcast. I'm not sure what cast that is, but I'm sure it's easy to find. But he was saying that they're not going to be able to. They're going to refuse them to rebuild right on the coast again. All those houses that were right on the beach.
Well, that goes exactly with what I mentioned before. What is their end game in this? What are we not going to be able to do after this? And I think you're absolutely right, because environmentalists are going to come in and say, you can't build right on the beach.
Yeah, can't build on the beach.
You can't build in these areas. We have a rare fish, and this one's not the smelt fish. This is whatever else they come up with that might be there. And you're going to disrupt their mating habits or some shit like that.
It's not like my house wasn't there already.
Right.
Yeah. And so that grab, I don't know. Why do you want to grab that coast? Or is there
you can use it instead? Maybe your highfalutin in real estate developer is going to come up with some resort thing so he can make more money, and then you can get your tax dollars from him instead of the tawdry little, home, what your house. I mean, the taxes you pay for your home is nothing compared to what a big resort would pay. Who knows? I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
What about this, Barn? What if the government wants that as a military installation to protect our western border from attacks off that coast?
Well, they do have Port Hueneme. They do have Vandenberg. They do have a bunch of others that are up and down the coast there, and they're not far from there. I wouldn't put it past them that they want maybe more military bases, more government-owned land that you can't buy anymore. And maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're saying, well, we're going to protect this, precious land from the public from buying it, and we're going to make it, state land, federal land that you can't build on, you can't live on, you can't hunt on, fish off the coast of, or whatever else. You could be right, dude. You never know.
I don't know. I mean, there's a million things that it could be, and I just don't understand. It's not adding up,
Right. And that's the thing that's weird, is we talked about it. Like, well, what's the real end game here? Why is it that they're allowed this stuff to happen? And so, like we said, the directed energy weapons are a good way of starting a natural disaster. Obviously, some people will disagree with this, but they did it in Hawaii, in Maui, and it looks like they may have done it here. And for people who don't know really what directed energy weapons really means, I just pulled this video up, and this might show a little bit about what it is. It kind of shows you what it's capable of and that it exists.
Maybe not. Energy weapons are real, and they're a lot more powerful than the novelty laser pointers that you're probably familiar with. Though they might not look like you imagine them. Take the US Navy's LAWS laser system, for instance. This experimental 30 kilowatt solid state laser was installed on the USS Ponce in 2014. It's a real, fully operational directed energy weapon. And while it doesn't shoot out brightly colored blasts of energy like you might have seen in movies or TV shows, this invisible laser weapon still packs quite a punch. In tests, the Navy has used it to detonate explosives from a distance, burn out the engines of approaching boats, and have even used it to shoot down small, unmanned aerial aircraft. It's not even hard to use. When the Navy first showed this laser off, Rear Admiral Matthew Klunder told reporters that anyone who could play Xbox or PS4 games could use the USS Ponce's new energy weapon with ease. And not only is it an effective, undetectable weapon, but because there's no explosives, propellant, or gunpowder, it's safer to operate than traditional weapons. It's more affordable, too. Destroying or disabling a target with a traditional missile can cost thousands of dollars, but LAWS can be fired for just 59 cents per shot. And the USS Ponce's energy weapon is just the beginning. Lockheed Martin has been working to help the Navy develop its next directed energy weapon system, the high energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance. or Helios for short.
Bedazzler?
It's a 60 kilowatt laser, twice as powerful as the Law's weapon. That's not a huge leap forward in laser technology, but it's enough for Lockheed Martin to start envisioning what a true next-generation laser system might look like. From systems that integrate Helios lasers with existing radar and targeting systems to eliminate threats at sea, to developing tactical airborne laser pods that can be mounted on military jets.
And launched, or not launched, but shot from satellites. Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't think that directed energy weapons are a thing, I don't know how many more videos I need to show you that say otherwise, but that's happening. So it's plausible. He's not up in the night. We're not up in the night. These fires, I mean, look at the heat that was produced on that missile, that bright white light, and then it finally exploded.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you think that could start brush that hasn't received more than 1/10 of an inch of rain in the last 6 months?
Yeah.
It's tinder dry.
Yeah. Set it up like a campfire, baby.
There's so much. In our next video, we're gonna go talk a little bit about the water wars, and why there's an issue of getting water down to Southern California to fill up those reservoirs, to build the other reservoirs, which should be filled up by the excess runoff from, the mega snowstorm, storms that happened in the last couple of years. That all that excess water, instead of being, diverted into the ocean, where it does no good, really, for what California needs. They could have diverted it down. So we'll get into that. So watch us for the next one. We appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out. Please, by all means, comment, subscribe, share this, like it, let us know. We're trying to build a channel, and we got a couple more things. So one more episode of this, we're going to talk about the water wars and why Southern California may not have had the water they needed to fight the fires, if that's really what it was. If it's electrical fires, like Peggy was mentioning, then that's a whole different game altogether. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of pieces that are not lining up that make this thing all seem really strange.
Mm-hmm. Very strange.
So join us for the next one here in a second. We'll see you on the next one, gang. Thanks for joining us.
Question everything.